Hello, my name is Emma Bracey, and today I will be discussing congenital phantom limbs and body image. In Ramachandran's book, Phantoms in the Brain, he suggests in Chapter 3 that perhaps genetics are at play for the formation of congenital phantom limbs. However, in the articles that I read, one of them suggested that genetics would in fact be a more complex explanation rather than the possibility of in utero development and learning of the phantom limb phenomenon. Genetics seems to be too complex in that it would require both a hardwired copy of the actual body and a hardwired copy of the ideal body image, and would also not explain the lower rate of congenital phantom limbs than for amputees. If there is a genetically hardwired body image, why do not all babies born without limbs experience these phantoms? So for the development, as far as the congenital limbs go, there is evidence of myoclonic jerks that are believed to help in the development of the body schema. This evidence is found in reafferent signals from the limbs to the spinal cord, dorsal column nuclei, cerebral cortex, and other structures associated with movement. However, connection to the basal ganglia has not yet been studied as of the article I referenced, which was published in 2017. These myoclonic jerks are small twitches that happen both in utero and during the sleep state that are believed to create a stronger sense of the body schema and body image by sending signals and then receiving the information back. And since they can occur in utero before limbs are fully developed, that is a possible explanation for how someone who is born without a fully developed limb can still experience the sensation of a limb. The article that I got this image from was also discussing the use of developmental evidence in neuroprosthetic advancements. So here it shows the normal circuit that was formed, this reafferent circuit, in the embodied limb, going from the motor cortex to the spinal cord, and then receiving the signals back in through the MDJ, inferior olive, lower reticular nucleus, dorsal column nuclei, going to the cerebellum, and then back out to the cortex again. Whereas within the phantom limb, there is no reafference from the limb, so this circuit just completes on its own, going from the spinal cord back to the cortex and so on. But since these circuits were developed in utero, there is still some form of sensation leading to this phantom limb. Cases of a referral are another possible explanation for learned phantoms, in that when a person has a fully formed left limb or other limb that mirrors their missing limb, there seems to be a body image located in the right posterior parietal cortex that contains both of these arms, even though one is not fully formed. Therefore, when the patient experiences movement in the developed arm and also is able to experience movement in the phantom. The evidence for referral comes in that there is not temperature or pain referral, but merely movement to the phantom. Another possible explanation of learning is that lower limb phantoms are associated with prosthetics, while upper limb phantoms do not require these reafferent cues of the visual system in order to develop. So it is thought that the lower limb phantoms occur after prosthesis use, and so the visual feedback is what leads to lower limb phantoms. This is contrary to a genetic basis for congenital phantoms, as the phantoms can be formed contrary to a typical body schema. Consider that of the girl with 3 phantoms for one leg, where one was formed by the prosthesis, the other was what would be considered a typical limb length, and the other one was actually at her shortened limb. There's also some evidence suggesting that mirror neurons may play a role in phantom limb development in congenital phantoms, specifically for these upper limbs, as mirror neurons are implicated in grasping and general hand motions. A couple of the articles that I read for this describe the connection between hand motion and gesticulation in phantom limbs, specifically in the upper limbs, where lower limb phantoms tend to not move on their own in the way that upper arm phantoms do, leading for them to believe that because of the mirror neurons, our brains are more attuned to the physical movements of people's arms and hands, and therefore the mirror neurons create the signal in the phantoms, and so that is what leads to possible gesticulation in upper limb phantoms. Obviously, the complete mechanisms behind congenital phantom limbs are mysterious, but there has been development in research and as well new theories as to why they develop in the first place, as opposed to the now 20 years old theory of possibly a hardwired genetic image.